It's time to get buzzed. Howard Bender, aka Roto Buzz Guy, is here to help you get through Thursday on Getting Buzzed. And now, please welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Howard Bender.
Yeah, what is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Oh, we love Howard so much. We're saying it twice. Oh, I'm listening in on another channel. That's where it is. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm hearing echoes. I'm not. Howard, close your windows here. Get in with it. You got action going on right in front of you. It is Getting Buzzed. I want to thank everybody here for tuning in. At some point, this technology thing, I'll grasp it. Some point or another. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I thank you all for joining me here on this episode of Getting Buzzed. I'm super pumped about this episode. First and foremost, my special guest for today, none other than Marc Brownstein, the bassist from the Disco Biscuits. If you haven't heard of the Disco Biscuits, I don't know what you're doing. You obviously don't know the jam band scene at all. But Brownie is not only a phenomenal bassist, he is one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life. There's no doubt about it. Britt Flynn hanging out here in the chat already, super excited about it. Listen, if you've ever had the opportunity, and I've seen this all on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it now, but if you want to connect with somebody in a band, somebody who like understands how to take care of their fans, how to take care of their supporters, Marc Brownstein, aka Brownie. He is going to be, I never call him Marc Brownstein to his face. I only refer to him as Brownie. So he's going to be joining us here, fresh off of a Disco Biscuits tour. He is back at home. Oh, look at him. Look at him. He's so handsome there. Brownie is also a diehard Jets fan. So we might have a little bit of a sad sack couple of moments with each other. Maybe we just hug and cry on each other's shoulders, but nevertheless, we got lots of ground to cover with him. So a little later on here in the show, I'm going to bring in Brownie, and I got a great game planned for he and I. So again, if you've been here to Getting Buzzed, you know what that's all about. So this is going to be a ton of fun. What I want to start off the show with today is something that it's been prevalent throughout fantasy community in football. It's a hot topic in sports in general. Well, look how handsome my floating head looks on that calendar. I look handsome. I know I'm not even wearing my glasses anymore, but I can give you like the mom face here. Let me get my Andrew Cooper Twitch glasses here and kind of give you the mom face like that. One of the hot topics that we've been talking about all over the place, and you've seen it all, are sports villains. Villains. Like, what is a true sports villain? You know, is it somebody who's just hated by another team because of a rivalry? Is this a player who's just hated by other players? Is it a coach? Is it an owner? Where are we at? Now, the reason that this has been so prevalent right now is none other than Arthur Smith, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The fantasy community is obviously up in arms about it. So much so that Jake Trowbridge of Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life posted this little ditty yesterday on X.
Oh, hi. My name is Arthur, head coach of the Falcons. You might be asking yourself, how did I get this job? Well, I actually started as an offensive coordinator, but it didn't really suit me. See, I kept finding myself in coaches' meetings asking, why use our best players?
So the video goes on a little longer than that, but you know what? I'll just send you over to Jake Trowbridge, his Twitter handle, or even Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life Twitter handle. But and I saw that, and the nice little spoof on Heath Ledger. I know everybody loves Heath Ledger's version of the Joker. It was the be all end all for so many people. It was a great video by Jake, very entertaining, very accurate. The real question is, though, is Arthur Smith really a villain? Because I don't really stack Arthur Smith into that category. I don't lump him in with some of the big villains of all time in sports. He's a moron. He's completely misusing his players. He's gone out and they've used, big draft picks on Kyle Pitts, on Bijan Robinson, and the latest comments from Arthur Smith were, Bijan Robinson draws so much attention from the other team. That's why he's doing, once he gets inside the 10-yard line, that's why he's doing, these inside handoffs to Jonnu Smith. This is why he's got Tyler Algier on the field and Bijan Robinson sitting in motion, running a route that they're never going to throw to. So Arthur Smith is basically telling us that, according to his plan and the way he's been doing it, Bijan Robinson, the 8th pick overall in the NFL draft, is a better decoy than he is an actual player. Does that make him a villain? Does that make Arthur Smith a villain? Or does that just make him the biggest boob in the NFL? And I think that's kind of where we're at. He's not hated because he's a jerk. He's not hated because he's like, I'll use Bijan any way I want to use Bijan, and you guys can all go to hell. He's just, this is him. This is what he's doing. This is where he's at. To me, villains are truly hated, whether it's, other players, whether it's an entire fan base, anything like that. That, to me, is a true villain. Arthur Smith, just a dopey idiot. An obvious Nepo baby. And I've said this before. I've said this on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, and I'll say it right here, right now. Boycott FedEx. You want to hit Arthur Smith where it hurts the most? Just be done with FedEx, because that's where Daddy got all his money, and that's why Arthur's got his job. And we know this already. Now, there were some promising moments for Arthur Smith as an offensive coordinator, but I mean, as a coach right now, he's running this Falcons offense into the ground. Does that make him a villain though? No, it doesn't. So do me a favor, boycott FedEx. Let's move out of that. Yeah, okay. Lex Plant says, Lex Plant some trees says a villain to fantasy, a villain to the Bijan Robinson owners, a villain to the Kyle Pitts owners. Although I'll tell you what, in the realm of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. If you're still sitting there hanging on to Kyle Pitts and you're wondering, is this guy ever going to do it? Well, then you're the problem, not Arthur Smith, because Arthur Smith has tipped his hand now for more than a full season to show you that Kyle Pitts is not the player he is, properly utilizing. I don't know, maybe because Desmond Ridder is so crappy, maybe Taylor Heineke does something a little bit more, whatever. But that's not, to me. Let's look at some villains. Let's look at some true villains in sports. And I'll start with, how about this? How about Robert Irsay? Now, your guys are like, oh, Howard, Jim Irsay is the owner of the Colts. Yeah, he is. Robert Irsay, Big Daddy over here, that guy is the one who is responsible for moving the Colts out of Baltimore in the middle of the night and going to Indianapolis. That's a villain. That's hey, I just went to sleep and I woke up the next morning to find out that my football team is gone. Like, the Baltimore Colts following so rampant, like unbelievable. Go watch the movie Diner from the early 80s. Just phenomenal moment there about the Baltimore Colts and just how Charm City really did feel about that team. So Robert Irsay, for doing that, that's a villain. Art Modell, who moved the Browns out of Cleveland and over to Baltimore, right? And then turned around and said, this city can't support an NFL team. Really? Come on. Art Modell, true villain, hated throughout the entire Ohio region. Anything even remotely near Cleveland. Ask any Cleveland Browns fan about Art Modell, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you. Now, as far as like players go, who's a villain? Let's see. I'm going to bring in Adam Bernard here for a sec. He's my producer. You guys all know Adam Bernard. Yeah, there he is, wearing the number 16 in the blue shirts jersey. That's not Adam Bernard.
Yes.
That's Sean Avery. And let's face facts. Sean Avery, notorious villain on the ice, not only hated by fan bases everywhere, but the dude's hated by a number of players because of his chippy style of play, his cheap shots, all that shit, right, Adam?
He was not he wasn't popular in his own locker room at times. So that just goes to tell you right there what kind of, if he falls into the villain category. But absolutely, we all remember the playoff series against the Devils when he started waving the stick in Marty Brodeur's face to kind of screen him and distract him. And it was not illegal. It was not a penalty, but it became illegal. And the sports broke, like a week later after that? They said you can't do that anymore. That's a villain move. But yes, he was an absolute villain.
Yeah.
I still have his jersey in my closet for what hanging for what it's worth.
So go ahead, man. So give me a true villain. Like I've got a list here and I'll just kind of roll through them, but give me a true villain, like somebody who everybody hates him.
Well, I mean, I'm not even a Knicks fan, and I said this before the show, but growing up in New York, I mean, if that Reggie Miller, Knicks back and forth with him and the choking with Spike Lee and stuff like that, I mean, it almost had the Shakespearean moments back and forth where Miller would drain the shots. I mean, not a bad dude, but absolutely a villain to Madison Square Garden in the 90s.
Yeah, definitely a villain. I'll move over to baseball. AJ Pierzynski. Anybody who's ever watched AJ Pierzynski, look at it. There's the shot of Cubs catcher Michael Barrett, like popping AJ Pierzynski for, Pierzynski slid into home and then he slapped his hand on the base and he was like on home plate. He was talking shit and all of this stuff happened. But see, Pierzynski not only hated here by Barrett, Pierzynski was probably one of the most hated players around Major League Baseball, right? That was without a doubt like one of those guys, like if he was in your locker room, you tolerated him. Okay, great. He's one of us now. But once he changed teams, and Pierzynski was fairly well traveled, once he changed teams, everybody was just like so against this dude. Andrew Cooper popping it in here. John Rocker. Hardcore racist. Turned out to badmouth all of New York City, the 7 train, Mets fans in general. Oh, look at that one right there. Tanya Harding. Oh, look at we're floating through them all. Tanya Harding. How's Tanya Harding not one of the ultimate villains in sports? Here's a woman who her and her boyfriend, right, orchestrated an attack on Nancy Kerrigan. That's villainous. All right. What Arthur Smith is doing right now, whatever. It is what it is. Right. This is how he's doing it. Tanya Harding, true villain. All right. Terrell Owens. Let's get over there. T.O. Like, it didn't matter who he played for. He played for the 49ers. He was on the Dallas Star and he was doing that whole thing. When he was with the Cowboys, he was agitating everybody on the 49ers side of things. Anybody where T.O. was an Eagle. I mean, let's face it. T.O., this was a guy who was a true villain. But the best part about it was that he always backed it up on the field too. Like a dominant wide receiver. Total asshole on the field, sure. But I mean, listen, that's a guy who gets under everybody's skin. That's one of the things that you want in a player, in a competitive player. So T.O., we said John Rocker. How about Floyd Mayweather? Everybody kind of craps on Mayweather here. He's a big villain. Bill Laimbeer. This dude was as dirty as it got on the basketball court. And I know I'm like running back over here. I'll throw somebody a little bit more recent. I know Adam sort of disagrees with me on Ron Artest, because Ron Artest went through some sort of a little fix-it in his mind where he became meta world peace and was suddenly a nice guy. But on the field, I mean, look at Laimbeer right there. Look at that dude. That dude is just, he was like elbows everywhere. So when we're sitting here and we're talking about, classic villains. And I mean like real classic villains. Like that's, these are the players. These are the owners. These are the coaches. You want to say Bill Belichick, probably one of the bigger villains in football? I think Bill Belichick is probably considered a villain in the sense that, that this was like Mr. Loophole, whether it was like filming the Jets practice, whether it was screwing around with the injury report, everything like that. Yeah, he was definitely a little on the villainous side. Coop chiming in here. Oh, we got Tommy getting the game. Everybody loves their villains. Everybody loves the bad guys. I love them too. I remember, oh man, when Edmonton basically became the New York Rangers in 1994, and we brought Marty McSorley over. Like McSorley was one of those guys. I mean, I kind of feel like there are enforcers in hockey. Now I get it. The days of the old enforcer, that's what it was at one time. Right. And the game has evolved and they've tried to get rid of enforcers. But when I'm looking at like Ty Domi, Nick Fotiu, I'm looking at Darian Hatcher, like, Craig Berube, Marty McSorley. These guys had a specific job, and their specific job was not just to go out there and fight. Their specific job was to go out there and protect the top player. Marty McSorley sat on a line with Wayne Gretzky in Edmonton, right? And why was he there? Because people would screw around with Gretzky and they'd get chippy with Gretzky and they'd shove Gretzky and they'd try to hurt Gretzky, and Marty McSorley would come in and take care of business. That's what an old school enforcer was. Yes, were there times where they were like sent out onto the ice and said, just go fight this dude and, take care of that? Yeah, absolutely. But it's really kind of funny because while we can talk about Sean Avery being a classic consummate hockey villain, right? Certain enforcers back in the day were some of the nicest dudes on the planet. And I was telling Adam this beforehand. I met Nick Fotiu of the Rangers. So if you're a Rangers fan, if you're a New Yorker and you remember like hockey in the early 80s, right? Nick Fotiu was the Rangers enforcer. This guy did so much charity work in New York. This guy was one of the nicest dudes. This guy, at the end of like the pregame skate, Nick Fotiu would go around and he would take like a whole bunch of pucks and he'd gather them all up and then he'd start flipping them out to the crowd. He'd like go around there and just start flipping them out to the fans. He'd flip them on a stick, he'd throw them, whatever. But like Nick Fotiu was all about the fans for him. And he was like one of the nicest dudes. So does that make him a villain because he was an enforcer? No. Sean Avery? Yes. So, when we're talking here about, classic villains to the game, like that's where you really got to like kind of dig deep. Just because, you drafted Bijan Robinson in the first round of your fantasy draft. And believe me, I drafted Bijan Robinson in the first round of a ton of fantasy leagues. I have him everywhere. I really do. I also wisely handcuffed him to Tyler Algier, but that's, nonetheless. But what I'm talking about here is, when we, what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I'm getting like messaging here as far as my guest. Is Brownie here yet? He's going to be here in a second. So yes, let's get Brownie in here 100%. He'll be joining us. But yes, let me just say this, as far as the villains go, just pick and choose your moments. Like, Arthur Smith, he's not really a villain. He's just a big dope who obviously does not know how to coach the talent that's sitting on his team right now. I will say this, for those of you in fantasy who do have Bijan Robinson, go look at Tyler Algier's game log from last season. Like, I'd say for the first 12 weeks, this guy was like 50 yards, one touchdown in like 12 weeks, 50 yards, 12 carries. That's what you were getting there. And then at the very end of the season, when it came time for the fantasy playoffs, what happened? Tyler Algier was getting like 20 carries a game. He was busting out 100-yard efforts. He was finding the end zone. Now, I'm not saying that this is what we're going to see from Bijan Robinson, but we should. We don't want to sell low on Bijan Robinson. I don't know how many people are coming to me asking about trades. Like, that's another thing. I'll say this, and maybe this makes me the fantasy sports villain, but you people are idiots when it comes to buying low and selling high. I don't understand it. It's like you're disappointed in a guy. Guy craps the bed for 3 straight weeks. Then he has one big, and you're like, I got to get rid of him. I got to get rid of him. What can I get for him? What can I get for him? You know what? You can't get anything for him because he's been crappy for 3 straight weeks and nobody wants to trade for that. Nobody's going to give you the value that you want. Then he has one great game, and I'm like, sell that MFer. Get rid of him right now, damn it. Do that. And everybody's like, oh, well, he just broke out. Do I want to get rid of him right now? Like, make up your freaking minds. All right. The concept of buying low and selling high means that if you've got a player like Bijan Robinson who's done crap for 3 weeks, you make trade offers to go and get him. And you're not offering up your best players. You're offering up guys who, like, maybe you drafted in the 4th round or the 5th round, guys who seem to maybe be overperforming a little bit. And you offer those guys for Bijan Robinson. But the day that Bijan Robinson has that big breakout game, okay, that's when you turn around and say, this is the Bijan we've all expected. This is the guy that everybody drafted in the 1st round, and this is what you're going to see moving forward. And then you try to siphon from them their top players. Give me your CeeDee Lamb. Give me your Jalen Hurts, something like that. So, boom. Buy low, sell high. I'll tell you what. We'll talk about more of that on Alarm Fantasy Football a little later on here. I got to get my guest in here. I got to get my boy. You guys know him as the bassist for the Disco Biscuits. I know him as one of my top competitors in the Jam On Fantasy Football League. I also know him as probably one of the nicest dudes I've ever met on this planet. I know him. I love him. Get him in here. Marc Brownstein. Brownie, what the hell? You're not even wearing a hat?
Well, I wanted to come in here looking clean for you. Looking clean.
Wow. See that?
What an intro.
And I came in as like the loser who wore,
I love it,
the band shirt to the show.
Yeah, I wore a Standing on the Moon shirt, which I thought you might appreciate.
Any Homer Simpson shirt I always appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That was the best. That was one of the best intros I've ever had on any show. That was great.
Well, dude, listen, my love for you, I've shared it with you. You know it's no big secret at all. I tell everybody, you are my favorite bassist in the jam band world. Sorry, Ryan Stasek. I can't help you there. Right? But I mean, listen, dude, like we have fun. We've hung out a couple of times. Like, you've invited me to shows. You bring me backstage. We chatted up. Like you're like literally one of the most awesome people on the planet. And for that, I say thank you for being you and being here.
I appreciate that so much. It's great to be here with you.
So how was tour, dude? You came back from, how long was tour? Like this last Biscuits tour seemed pretty long, but like judging by all your social media stuff, dude, you were having a blast.
Yeah. And it seems like it never ends, but what we do is we'll do 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, a week off, so this last tour started, summer tour started at the beginning of June. We did 2 weeks and then we took a week off. Then we went out west for 3 weeks, as you know, because I saw you out there. Mm-hmm. This is the first time since 2009 now, 14 years, that the Disco Biscuits have gone to all 4 corners of the United States. We hadn't been out west proper outside of maybe a festival here or an opening show there in 13 years. And so, I was a little nervous getting ready to go out there, and it was incredible. I mean, I go back and look at some of the photos and videos and stuff every couple of days to remind myself of just the pure elation being on stage at the Fillmore in San Francisco, at Roseland in Portland. And the reception was unlike anything that I could have imagined. And, I guess, distance makes the heart grow fonder, right? And it's been so long. The fans really let us know how much they missed us being out there. we just came back from another run where we went to Texas for the first time in 8 years and did a full tour of the Midwest, and then finished it off in the Northeast at my friend and yours, Peter Shapiro's venue, the Capitol Theater in Port Chester. And I should just say, you say all those things, all those nice things that you said about me, bringing me backstage, doing this, doing that. I learned it all from our friend Peter Shapiro. The thing that's so special about him. People say, why Peter Shapiro? How did he end up being him? And it's the answer is, he just makes everyone feel so special all of the time. He shows up at your show at midnight and makes you feel like you're in the Rolling Stones. So, it's one of those things. You go around, you see your friends, you want to host them, you want to make everybody feel great, you want to make everybody feel like they're part of the family, and that's how we try to treat our friends and our fans and everybody. So it's been an amazing couple months here, and we're going to be back out west again in a couple months. We're coming for our second go around. We'll be at the Fillmore at the end of January, so I hope to see you again out there.
Oh, you'll definitely see me out there. I think it was I think when we talked about this, it was like right after I saw you at the Fillmore, and I tweeted something out, like a picture that I took from backstage and everything. I think my wife took a phenomenal picture of you and I, just like hugging each other, which is one of my favorites. But then all of a sudden there was like a random dude who tweeted about didn't get to go to the San Francisco shows, was going to see you at the next show right afterwards, had already bought his meet and greet stuff. And he tweeted that out, and then you jumped onto Twitter and you were like, dude, you got to make sure that you seek me out, that we talk, whatever. And I said I said to my wife, Deborah, I'm like, see, this is what it's all about. Brownie gets it. Brownie knows. You make every fan feel like he is the most important Biscuits fan out there. And I think that's that's the vibe. I try to do that with my subscribers at Fantasy Alarm. The fact that you do that with your ridiculously huge following for music, that to me is that's what it's all about.
Well, it's just too easy to be nice to people, right? And I think that it was, I want to say, when I was younger, I read something about BB King, that over the years, back before the internet, back before Twitter, back before people could keep in touch digitally, if you wanted to get in touch with a rock star that you were a fan of, you had to write a letter to their fan club and send it in to whatever their managers had an address, and you would send it in and hope that you got it back. And I believe I remember reading once that in all of his years, BB King personally answered every single one of those letters that came in. And it just resonated with me. There's, you hear stories about these guys that are just world famous who take the time to answer every single person that ever reaches out to them. And that's really what inspired me to be like that. I read that and I said, if I ever have that kind of success, and still I will say, if we ever do have that kind of success, I will continue to answer every single person who reaches out to me. If you're going to take the time to go online and send a correspondence to me, it only takes me a couple seconds to say, hey, thank you for reaching out. I appreciate your support.
Have you always been like that? I mean, you've been like that since I've known you, and I've known you for probably close to a decade right now, through the Jam on Fantasy Football League, which is where you and I kind of first met up. But early on in your career, my first Disco Biscuits show, I think it was 2001 or 2002 in New York City. That was where I first saw you. So you're obviously 20 years in, but you were significantly younger when you first started. Were you still of that ilk back then?
Yeah, for sure. It started out with 30 fans or 50 fans following us around the country, and we would finish the show and we would walk out onto the floor and get to meet everybody that was in the room. That was just our MO, was, if you're going to succeed, you're going to make your fans feel like family. And that's how we got a leg up early in our careers, was just bring everybody in, make everybody feel special, make everybody feel like they're a part of it. This is like we have our own kind of secret society here that, and it's the way that it still is, we, especially with the VIP stuff, people come out and they pay money to come and meet us early. And I say to my tour manager, hey, make sure that we're starting that stuff early enough that we can play a couple songs and still have 15 or 20 minutes that I could go out there and meet all 50 people and give them all a really great experience, because if people want to come out early and meet the band, obviously 2,000 people are coming to a show. You can't meet every single one of them. But, if 50 of them are coming out for the VIP earlier, it's VIP, very important. You have to make them feel like they are important. And it's, I think a lot of people will agree with me. I think I get more out of it even than the fans do. It makes me maybe feel better than it even makes the fans feel. It's just such an important thing. Just yesterday, a girl came onto Instagram or a woman, and she DM'd me and said, hey, earlier today, my husband reached out to you about if there was going to be an Electron holiday show in Philly this year. And you answered him and told him it wasn't happening. And she said, thank you so much for doing that. You made his entire day by answering him. And I answered her and I said, well, you know what? He made my entire day by reaching out to me on Instagram DMs. And that's true. I said to her, when the day that the fans stop reaching out to me all day long, every day, is the day that I know we're done. Right. It's like, this online community that we've built that a lot of people would agree. I've curated this community by being so active in it. And the other guys in the band, they'll pop onto online, but really every band has one guy. Humphreys has Joel, Mo has Al. Every band has one guy that seems to be the person that's gregarious and outgoing and goes out and meets all the fans. And, you need that. You need one guy who's going to write songs that are going to be, generationally remembered. And you need somebody in the band that's going to be there to curate a community. And if you don't have that, it's really hard to build a community without somebody holding it together.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I follow that same path, that same guideline, in the fantasy community. It's why I answer everybody's questions on Twitter. It's why I always respond to emails as well. So I love that. I do. Now,
you do a great job of that on Twitter. I mean, it's great you even answer my stuff on Twitter when I'm looking to figure out what do I do with Travis Kelce is going on bye week this week. And, that's takes out a heap of points for me. Where am I going to get him back? So.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not all lollipops, rainbows, and sunshine for us. The two of us are diehard Jets fans.
That's right.
This has been miserable. And I don't even how's your fantasy season going this year in Jam On? Are you ready to win that second trophy? I was the one, for everybody who wants to know, that trophy that's sitting right back there. That's what it looks like. I traveled to Las Vegas to a show to present that to present Brownie with his trophy. Was that 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So how's your fantasy season going?
Well, I'm in the Electric League, and in the Electric League, my team, Risk It for the Biscuit, is 7-2. So I'm in first place in my division, and I think first place overall in the entire league. So going pretty well again. And like Howard can tell everybody, I love the fact that we have about 6 guys in our league that are from the jam band scene, Chris Carota and Brad Sands, the lighting director of Fish, and Al from Mo, and George, the bass player of the Revivalists, and Ryan, the bass player of Humphreys McGee, Ari Fink from Jam On, from Fish Radio, and pretty consistently over the last couple of years. And then on the other side, we have all of the so-called experts, right? We've got Adam Zucker from CBS and Bob Wischusen, the radio voice of the New York Jets. Chris Weaver from NFL Films. Who else? Steve Gardner from USA Today. So we've got all of the fantasy football experts. And I'd say pretty consistently over the last 3 or 4 years, if you look at the standings, it's the Jam Band guys that have been atop the standings. Al from Al Schneer has been at the top of the league this year. Ari Fink 7-2. In my league, you've got me 7-2, Andrew Brass and John Schwartz from Jam on Sirius 6-3. You'd have to go all the way down to Howard Bender in 4th place at 5-4 before you hit one of the experts. So I always find that to be really great. You know how now I do recognize that for guys like me, this is my focus, you know, and for Howard, he probably has 15 leagues to focus on every week. So it's a little harder, but I tend to think that this is the league that Howard wants to win the most. I feel like this is the league. It's not a money league. We're not betting. It's this league is just for pride. You know, and I feel pretty proud right now at 7-2. I don't know how it's going to go because as you get into the second half of these seasons, with the buys, with the injuries, it's hard to maintain dominance, you know, going down the stretch. You really have to be on top of the waivers. You really have to be studying. You know, it's one thing to get the fantasy alarm cheat sheet at the beginning of the year and steal all of Howard's ideas for who your best draft choices are. And, you know, a lot of that comes down to where you are in the draft, right? What pick you have. This year, I think I was last in the pick or second to last. So, you know, in the snake draft, you know, you can basically get 2 first round picks that way. Whereas if you're first, your next pick is 24th, right? So I like being kind of deeper in the draft because I find I always go deeper into the playoffs when I get a 12th pick and a 13th pick or an 11th pick and a 14th pick. This year, I picked Cooper Kupp and Travis Kelce, and everyone torched me because I hadn't been paying attention to the injuries, and they were both out. Kupp for a bunch of weeks and Kelce also for a couple weeks at the top. But, you know, they're both back. I went to the waivers on week 1 with the first pick and picked up Puka Nacua, who has been a bright spot. And I ultimately last week ended up trading him to Ryan Stasek because I'm flailing with my running backs in both of my leagues right now. All of my running backs are hurt. Aaron Jones was my first running back pick, and he's had a rough year with his hamstring. And it looks like he might be back. I see he's got a Q next to his name right now, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. But I traded for Tony Pollard and Deontay Foreman. I gave up Calvin Ridley and Puka, and I think people would probably say, how can you give up Puka and Calvin Ridley for Pollard and Foreman? And the answer is, you know, I've got Mike Evans, I've got Michael Pittman, I've got Tyler Lockett. You know, I was so deep in the wide receiver side of things that I felt like I got Cooper Kupp, I had Puka, I had Calvin Ridley, I had 7 starting wide receivers going. So I figured I could give up Puka. I've been watching it kind of closely. It doesn't really seem like that trade panned out for either of us over the last couple of weeks. Pollard's been, you know, flat. Puka and Cooper Kupp have both kind of been flat the last couple of weeks. Deontay Foreman sitting on my bench. I had Zach Moss fill in and do a really great job on running back for a while. I thought maybe he was going to continue going, but then they gave Jonathan Taylor that huge contract extension, and that was when I knew we were done because you're not giving anybody that kind of a contract extension and not just putting him in the starting position. And so Moss has been kind of flat the last couple of weeks, and I've had to move stuff around. James Conner is on the injured reserve sitting on my bench, and so I don't know how the end of the season is going to go right now. I've had nothing going on at quarterback. I drafted Geno Smith. Now I've got Sam Howell in there. He's, you know, been doing fine.
He's been more than serviceable, man. As long as you can understand that it's nothing but garbage time points for Sam Howell, and you can withstand the fact that he's going to suck in the first half of every game.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But I'll tell you what, you know what? Offline, we'll talk Travis Kelce deal. I got some great tight ends that you'll love. I
Oh,
promise.
I love that.
I
I love
promise
it.
you.
I got who did I pick up? I picked up Cade Oton right now.
Yeah,
And
Kate Otten.
yeah,
I got Dalton Schultz. I got Trey McBride. Two of the guys that you're gonna want, Brownie. We'll talk.
We're making deals right here.
We'll negotiate a trade. I got to really kind of give it some thought here. I got to talk to my Taylor Swift consigliere and find out if it's worthwhile to trade for Travis Kelce right now. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But Brownie, I know that you're a busy guy. I know you've got someplace to be after this show. So what I like to do. What's that?
You want to play the game?
I do want to play the game.
I just wanted to say one thing before we play the game about the Jets, which was I just love that the Jets have the most confusing lineup of all time this year. Quincy and Quentin Williams, Zach and both with you got two Wilsons, two Williams, two Carters, Brees Hall and Bryce Hall. This must be really confusing for Bob Wischusen out there with all of the players that have the same last names on the team. Four pairs of last names on that team. And the whole entire season, I'm looking at the back of these jerseys, trying to figure out who's who. And I don't envy Bob Wischusen's job out there on the radio, trying to figure out what's going on the field.
Have you ever seen him fill out one of those like sheets that he does for every single game?
No, I haven't, but you would figure with all of those filling outs of the sheets that he'd be better at fantasy football.
Wow. Shots fired.
Bob Wischusen's my favorite guy in all of football. I mean, I think I like him more than I like the Jets. You know what I mean? I've been syncing the Jets to the radio since, years ago when I lived in New York. I wouldn't even listen to the TV broadcast. I would try to sync it up perfectly to the radio broadcast just so I could take in that Wischusen voice. All right, let's play the game.
All right, so here we go. So for everybody out there who doesn't know, one of the things that Brownie and I like to do when we're in Las Vegas together is we like to meet up for brunch. We love the buffet.
Oh, we
right?
do.
And we do it. Like we go, we sit down, we hit it, we talk, we eat, we go, we find more everything. So Brownie and I we're notorious for getting our money's worth at the buffet. The question is that now here 10 years down the road, multiple brunches together, how well do Brownie and I know each other and our breakfast buffet tendencies? So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newly fed game. All right, so here's the way it goes. Our producer, Adam Bernard, submitted 5 questions. I gave my answers to Adam. Brownie gave his answers to Adam. We have no idea what the other one said. The game is whoever guesses what the other person answered, the most questions right, wins somebody's love and admiration. I don't know whose.
That's right. Whoever wins pays for the next brunch in Vegas.
Boom. Done. Those brunches are pricey. Damn it. All right, let's go. Adam Bernard, our illustrious producer. Let's get to the questions.
All right, folks, let's bring up question number 1. What is your favorite kind of omelet? Now, Howard, I want you to take a guess at what Mark answered.
Brownie's favorite omelet. I'm just going to say that it's a, you know what? He seems to me like a Leo type guy, like a lox, eggs, and onions type guy.
All right, so Howard guesses a Leo omelet. And Mark, what would you guess as Howard's favorite kind of omelet?
I'm going to guess that Howard is a ham and cheese omelet. That's what I think he is. Ham and cheese.
Old reliable ham and cheese. So there are the answers on the screen. The guesses. The proper answer was, nobody gets anything right there.
The Western and the Denver omelet are like the same thing.
It's
like ham, peppers, and onions.
Uh-huh. You
All
call
right.
it a Western. I mean, it's close. You're a Western, and I'm a Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like the same kind of omelet, and we both got it wrong.
We're the cutest, aren't we? We're so cute. What's question number 2?
Number 2.
All right. So, question number 2. What is your favorite type of bagel and preferred spread? Howard, what do you think Mark's guess was?
Oh, Brownie's just he's an everything bagel with a schmear regular cream cheese. That's what Brownie's all about.
And Mark, what do you think Howard's favorite breakfast bagel and spread is?
I think he's going to be an everything bagel with cream cheese and lox.
All right. So the guesses are going up on the screen right now. The proper answers. Howard likes a salt bagel with lox spread. Mark likes an everything bagel with scallion cream cheese. So close, Howard. So close.
Scallion.
Both so close. Salt with lox. I was close.
Damn.
I
All
almost
right.
went lox spread too. I had that in my head because I didn't even know if lox was going to be a viable answer. But all right.
And I was worried that scallion and veggie and scallion and an everything bagel would be too much for you, but apparently it's not. What's question number 3?
Question number 3. What is your preferred breakfast potato style? So Howard, what is Mark's favorite breakfast potato style?
Oh, he's a hash brown dude. He's easily a hash brown dude.
Hash
Not like a McDonald's hash brown, not like the hash brown patty, but he likes the shredded hash browns.
All right. And Mark, what do you think Howard's favorite form of breakfast potato is?
I think he likes the McDonald patty. That's what I think. The hash brown patty.
All right. So the answers are going up on the screen. Both answers were, we'll say, hash brown related. Howard and Mark. Howard gets Mark's right. Now, shout out to Waffle House for the loose, covered, and smothered and well done.
Yeah.
So good job by Howard.
And Howard, home fries. 1-0.
Oh,
All right.
I'm going to eat so much at the next brunch that you buy. I can't wait for this one here.
Still 2 questions to go here.
Oh, shit. Okay, what do we got?
Sausage links or sausage patties?
All right, we're 50-50 on this. Maybe.
All right. Brownie's a Lynx guy.
All right. And Mark, what do you think Howard likes?
I think that Howard's playing games here in my head, and I'm going to say that he's a Lynx guy too.
All right. So we have 2 answers for links in the guesses. Unfortunately, Howard guessed patty, and Mark, just like Jules Winfield, does not dig on swine.
Does not.
I only like a sausage link that's about yay big.
All
Ten
right.
for that length.
All right, so we both get it wrong. I'm still in the lead.
You are still in the lead with 1 more question to go. French toast, pancakes, or waffles? You can only pick one. Howard, what did Mark guess?
Brownie's a pancake guy.
And Mark, what do you think Howard guessed?
I think he's a French toast guy.
Well, when it comes to doughy breakfast meals, you guys are very, very in tune with one another because you're both right. But unfortunately for Mark, Howard is our winner today because he goes 2-1. So congratulations, Howard.
Yeah,
There you go, Howard.
boy.
I'll be seeing you in Vegas.
Yes, you will. And I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna fast for like a good 3 days beforehand now.
Hopefully they get the buffets back to pre-COVID style. You know what I mean? Like really bustling breakfast buffets.
What?
Because
So that you can raid the shrimp plate again?
Yeah, we went. That's exactly right. We went during COVID, and it was like a half buffet. But I'm sure it's back to normal. Well, Howard, this has been unbelievable.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for being here, Brownie. I really appreciate it, man. Look forward to the next time. When is the next show for you?
My next show is Miami, December 1st and 2nd at the North Beach Festival.
All right. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, get your asses over to Miami. Go to the North Beach Music Festival right there. Go check out Brownie and the Disco Biscuits. Brownie, thank you so much for being here, man. You're the best, man. I love you so much.
Love you, Howard, and I'll see you on the ESPN app. All right, take care, guys.
Later. Marc Brownstein of the Disco Biscuits. Again, one of the greatest people, one of the greatest humans of all time. So great to have him here. And now I'm getting a free brunch out of it there. Like, come on. Adam, I mean, I was right there. I mean, I knew it. I owned that contest, didn't I?
I mean, once when it came down to the final question, and you got a 1 in 3 chance. Once you said pancakes, I'm like, there it is. That was the clincher right there. That was the dagger, as some play-by-play announcers would say.
I'd say that I was surprised that he got me on the French toast part, but I do believe the last time he and I brunched it up, I went after a giant Monte Cristo sandwich and like probably said something to the effect of, I don't think I want to ever live in a world where the Monte Cristo sandwich is not available to me.
Well, here's the other thing too. I'm a little surprised that you didn't know that he did not eat pig. I figured that could have, I mean, you never saw sausage on his plate? Not once? I mean, obviously no.
The funny thing is I was thinking about it. Like, that's why I was surprised that he said the Denver omelet, because the Denver omelet's got ham in it.
I mean, I like tomatoes, mozzarella cheese, and spinach in my omelet. That's what I'm all about.
Tomato, mozzarella cheese, and what?
Spinach.
And spinach.
And throw some onions in there too.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. All right. So now I gotta figure this one out. And you know what? You can have chicken sausage, right? There's like,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, just because he's not, scarfing down the pig, but I want to know what he does with his Denver omelets now. Now I'm debate. Was Brownie 100% truthful with us here?
I mean, now you're on the case, so you got to report back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that one there as well. All right. Big thank you again to Marc Brownstein. Always great to join him, and I highly recommend, if you guys can catch a Disco Biscuits show in your neck of the woods, definitely do that. Time for the final 5. And listen, this one here, we're going to keep it breakfast themed because Adam and I we've been fighting for like the past, I don't know, I'd say like 48 hours here over this one. So let's get to it here. Let's get to what the final 5. These are the top chocolatey cereals that are out there. Now, y'all know that I'm more partial to like, a little Frankenberry. I like the strawberry flavor. I like the strawberry quick milk. I know a lot of people like their chocolate cereals. So here we go. These are, in my opinion, the top 5 chocolate cereals. Number 5, Chocolate Toast Crunch. All right. Adam, get in here, man. Can you get in here with the Chocolate Toast Crunch?
I sure can.
You've got you kind of hit the nail on the head when we were talking about this. And let's have it out here. Chocolate babka versus cinnamon babka.
You want the chocolate, but you settle for the cinnamon, even if there's phlegm in it. So but you want the chocolate. So that's what you do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's a great breakfast cereal. It gets the job done. But if it's cinnamon or chocolate, you go chocolate. Seinfeld taught us that.
Seinfeld definitely taught us that. All right. Number 4, I'm going to go with a weird kind of cereal. I had no idea what this was all about, but here it is. Crave. Because the brownie batter center kind of gives it like a little bit of like chewiness to it. Now, not the ideal thing that what you want in a breakfast cereal is like, eating it's like chocolate combos with like brownie batter in the middle of that. But I got to tell you, man, if I'm going to sit there and like forget about the milk, I'll just eat that crap right out of the box. I'm loving that.
Now you got me thinking like, all right, so if that's basically like, combos, like a cereal version of combos, and you just put milk on them. So I should maybe getting like combos and like dumping them in my soup and making like that way, Dude,
pizza combos in like a tomato soup.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're onto something.
Number 3, shout out for the Cocoa Krispies, baby. Snap, crackle, pop. I love making marshmallow treats with the Cocoa Krispies. Just rock solid breakfast cereal. One of my absolute favorites.
My wife makes an excellent Rice Krispie treats with these, but she uses peanut butter as well. So chocolate peanut butter Rice Krispie treats, fantastic.
I don't believe you. Prove it.
All right, I'm not driving to Half Moon Bay.
I'll drive up to you.
All right, I'll meet you halfway.
Done.
Somewhere in Marin County.
Somewhere. I'll meet you on the Golden Gate Bridge.
On the county borders.
Number 2, we're all cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, without a doubt. They've gotten a little smaller, little, over the years. Like, I remember when I first had it, I mean, they were like good sized circles. Now they're like these like little like BB pellets.
They used to be like chocolate kicks essentially, and now they're starting to. Now they're more pellet sized, they're little BBs, and I like the bigger puffs better. And
the number 1 chocolate cereal for me, Yabba Dabba Doo. Give me the Cocoa Pebbles. I mean, it's the 1-1 of chocolate cereals, no doubt. You know why? Because the chocolate flavor that you get with the Cocoa Pebbles versus the chocolate flavor of the others, it's superior here. And the important thing with the chocolate cereal is the chocolate milk it leaves behind to drink at the end. And the Cocoa Pebble milk, far superior than anything else on this list. Now let's hash out the fight. Why have we been sparring for the last 48 hours as we do this, Adam? Because I feel that there's a glaring error on this list and that Chocolate Lucky Charms should be included. Lucky Charms, the regular version, it's a good cereal by itself, but you throw that chocolate flavor into it and it's an all-pro cereal, both in the child cereal category and the chocolate cereal category. Now, one thing we do agree on is that Count Chocula sucks. He's nowhere on this list. He's not even the best of the Halloween cereals. Where Count Chocula fails, Chocolate Lucky Charms picks up the baton and really just drives it into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, see, and I disagree because it's the same company, so it's the same like garbage marshmallows, chocolatey marshmallows, like weird, like it's not even like a real, like legit chocolate taste to those chocolate marshmallows or to Count Chocula as all. What separates Chocolate Lucky Charms? See, it's the same cereal. Now the chocolate pieces are probably the same. There's no difference there. It's just the shape. But I know the marshmallows that they use for Lucky Charms are probably like a slightly higher quality than the stupid Halloween cereals that they release once a year. I love Frankenberry. I love Boo Berry. The Carmela Creeper one is pretty good too that they rolled out this year. But I haven't had that one. I'm gonna have to investigate that. It's apple and caramel. It's pretty good. But the marshmallows, like they get soggy in the Count Chocula like the second they touch milk. Where Lucky Charms marshmallows, they hold up a little bit. If you don't believe me, go buy a box of 2 and then do a little science experiment and see. Now, the thing about Chocolate Lucky Charms is it's a Target exclusive. You're not going to find it in your cereal stores. You got to go to Target. Well, see, there you go. Like, there's no Target near me. I mean, I would have to like trek out there. But I'll tell you what, the next time I'm over in San Mateo, maybe I will pick myself up a box of Chocolate Lucky Charms just to compare them to Count Chocula. Although I don't even know if I can get a Count Chocula right now outside of Halloween. So we're gonna have to wait and see. If there's left on the shelves, but they're not getting any more till probably September next year. So, and it's probably the same boxes too. Like they're just like, they put them on the shelves in the back and they're just gonna move them on out there. So yeah, they'll sit in a warehouse for a year and they'll be the first ones out next year. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Getting Buzzed. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Huge thank you to my man, Marc Brownstein of the Disco Biscuits for joining us. Big thank you to Adam Bernard for, as always, bringing the heat here, the graphics, the arguments, the fun. I love it so much. Stay tuned. You got Alarm Fantasy Football with me and Andrew Cooper coming up next. If you got those NFL Week 10 lineup questions, we got the answers. But I'm Howard Bender. This has been Getting Buzzed. Catch you next time.